What's up guys, Syiler here with AceGamesTV, and this is the first of our Heroic Dungeon Guide series. I'll be doing this as a melee point of view, and we're going to be running through the full dungeons. Now if you don't want to see the trash or the full clear of the dungeon, there should be annotations or links in the comment or description below, that will take you to the specific points where the bosses are. So this is Stormstout Brewery. This is the first one we're going to cover, and it has 3 bosses. It doesn't change too much in heroic difficulty. So if you're familiar with normal, you should have a good idea of what to do in here. When you enter and pull the first pack, you'll notice a timer pops up. It says 00 out of 40. That means how many of these hosen you need to kill to get the first boss activated. So as you see, we've killed 5 at the moment. We need to kill 40 or 35 more. You'll get, it seems like a lot, but you'll gain a lot in the room after this one. Now these mobs that we're pulling at the moment, they all have their own sort of name to them, like Drunken Hosen or I think it was Inflamed Hosen. Now that means they all have their own little buffs to them, but it's nothing to worry about, it's nothing that you need to be concerned about, it's just a basic like one ability kind of buff. When we get into this room, you're going to find loads of these Hosen party animals. You can pull a couple of packs and get them down. You can utilise these barrels. As you can see, the barrels spawning, you can drive them into the monkeys, which will cause them to be knocked back and cause damage to be done to them, as you've seen there. So use them to help get down the packs of mobs, and once we get to close to 40 mobs killed, all the mobs will start running out of the room, and the room will be locked. So make sure you're not trapped outside of the room, otherwise you'll be locked out of the encounter, which you'll see in a second I nearly do, and then I'm like, oh no, run in! And I run in, obviously. So, with that out of the way, here's the first boss. This is ook-ook, and as I said before, it doesn't change too much on heroic difficulty. He does his ground pound, where he'll pound the ground every 1 second for 3 seconds, and he'll also stun enemies in a 45-degree cone. So, as you've seen then, I got hit by that. It's easily avoided by just having the tank face the boss away from the party. As you've seen there, he's on the other side of the room, the rest of the party's on his behind. Easily done. His next ability is going bananas at 90%, 60% and 30% health remaining. ook-ook goes bananas. He'll get an attack speed increase and a damage dealt increase. This stacks and it also causes rolling barrels. So this makes the fight more of a DPS race. You need to get him down before the softened rage gets too much. It'll kill your tank basically. You need to use these barrels when he does go on bananas, and he'll spawn the barrels. Assign a DPS or 2 to actually jump on the barrels and roll them towards the boss, because when they hit the boss they'll cause him to gain a 10% damage increase buff, which stacks, or debuff if you want to call it, and he'll also take damage on contact, so that'll help speed up the kill basically, which needs to be done. Once he's dead, you'll get some epic loots. Now remember, these can change. This is still beta. I don't think they'll change too much from here, but remember, everything in this is still beta, so it is subject to change. And once you kill him, get a load of monkeys come in and do a load of ads. Show a little love, get down tonight. Oh, that's not copyright. So next up we have hoplings and boppers. These are trash. Onto the next boss. And yeah, this is basically just a case of killing them, and it's kind of like a gauntlet. You just need to keep running through until you reach the second boss area. Now the boppers will drop like a hammer, which you're able to pick up, and it'll give you an extra action button, which will allow you to like cast the hammer, which as you've seen then will knock all the enemies away and also cause damage to them. So if there's any boppers dead and there's a few hammers around, I definitely recommend picking one up. There you go, I picked one up there, and you just click it, it'll do the smash and it'll knock everyone everywhere. So we're nearing the second boss room now. Now what you should really do here is when you reach this point, just back off into the other room, just so you avoid pulling the boss with your healer on low mana. As you see, we pull this boss with our healer on around 40% mana. Isn't ideal, but we managed to do it anyway. So the second boss is Hoptulus, and once again doesn't change too much from the normal difficulty. He'll do his carrot breath, where he'll spin in I think it's clockwise direction every single time. He'll turn in a circle, spewing out carrot juices. The carrot juices will do quite a bit of damage and knock back targets, so you don't want to do that. So make sure you're on the opposite side of him. He'll do like a whirlwind. He'll spin in a circle, just move away from him. He'll also slow you if you are hit, so just make sure you're not hit by that. He'll do a shrill screech, where he'll summon in the hoplings, the hoppers and the boppers. So you want to make use of the hammers here and AoE down these mobs as quickly as possible, because it'll just be extra damage that your tank really doesn't need on this fight. But once again, nothing too challenging. Now, the fights don't seem as hard as you'd think, but I guess that's because there's kind of like 3 difficulties to dungeons now. There's normal, there's heroic, and there's going to be challenge mode, which is meant to be a step up from heroic. So I guess they've made it so this isn't crazy challenging as it is, and then challenge mode will be like the final sort of major challenge where you have to actually really be playing and paying attention to what you're doing. So with that boss nearly dead, that's the second boss out the way. Just waiting for him to finally pop his clogs. Come on, Rabbit. Come on. There we go. And we got some more epic loots. Little nibble will run off with a carrot, allowing you to proceed on. So now we have the Stormstout ailments. These basically all have their own little buff to them. It'll be random. The first one that we come across gives us this buff where we need to keep moving. The debuff that means you need to keep moving. If you get too many stacks of it, it'll cause a lot of damage to you. Just make sure you're like moving left to right or something along those lines, just to remove the stacks. As you see, it takes a few steps to actually get rid of them. And once that's dead, we can move on, and we get a few of these bubbling ailments. These will basically spawn like a bubble shield that you'll have to DPS through before you can like damage the target. Nothing too worrying, to be honest. Just do some AoE damage and you'll be able to get through that. They'll also have things like a chain heal, so they'll chain heal each other, and the way to avoid them healing each other is to actually stand in the way of the heal, which I think is a really cool mechanic. It means you actually have to be paying attention and be like, oh, it's healing, I need to avoid that. And when you actually stand in the way of it, you get a healing buff as well, which is pretty cool. So as we move up, we have another pack of trash. And I think these ones put a like ooze on the ground that you need to move out of. Yeah, there's that. So you just need to move out of that and get the tank to move them away. And the next room will kind of be like a wave of mobs kind of thing, so you have to fight a few waves of mobs before you'll actually be able to fight the last boss. So this dungeon doesn't have a huge amount of trash, but I'd say the trash between the second and third boss is probably the most trash you'll face in here. It does take quite a while to clear through it all. And with that dead, let's proceed on in. So then we go into the tasting room, and as I said, this is where we'll get a few waves of different mobs until we get the boss finally. So we'll start off with 2 mobs. And we have the stout ones, which I think gives the... Yeah, this is the debuff where you need to move side to side. So it's just basically a case of left, right, left, right, left, right, and that'll go. And then once we get them down, we'll move on to the next wave, which I think is a group of quite a few small mobs. So yeah, just a case of moving left, right, and that'll get rid of the debuff. With there being 2 of them, obviously you're going to stack the debuff a lot more, so you need to be careful about that. And then once we get both of these down, once again just get your tank to tank 1, mark 1 up, so you're not DPSing down 2 targets at the same time. And I think after this wave, we get a wave of a lot of like smaller ones, so it can be a challenge depending on what buff they actually gain. Oh, they also put a party member to sleep, I guess? I didn't notice that before. So we've got bubbling ones, which will obviously have that bubble shield, and they'll cast this like ranged attack. So quite easy, just sort of target 1 and AoE, and you should be able to AoE through most of them, along with taking down the bubble shields. Don't quite get what I'm doing here. I'm kind of running around attacking whatever the frig I want. That's fine. I'm a paladin, do whatever the hell I want anyway. So as you see, with this many mobs firing at different targets, it does become a bit of an issue with their ranged attack. So a couple of cooldowns here may be the best plan. And once we get through it all, we'll be on to the next pack, which I think is the final one before we hit the final boss. I think there's only 3 waves before we get the final one. Okay, so that was spread up a little bit just to skip out that trash, because it took us a while to get through that. And now we've got 4 of these fizzy brews, which I think are the ones that put down the debuff on the ground. So once again, quite easy to avoid. For some reason my character does a random emote at this point. I have no idea why. I didn't do anything, but it's like, by fire be purged! I was like, oh, okay. Calm down, Paladin. It's okay. So yeah, these are the ones that just do the debuff. Get your tank to move away and target one up and get through this pack. And once this pack's dead, we'll be on to the final boss. Now, the final boss has kind of random mechanics. It uses the mechanics that you've seen so far on the trash and kind of makes them better, basically. So once we get to that, you'll see what's going on there. So we get these final 3 mobs down. Okay, so we're at the final boss. This is Yan-Zhu the Uncased. I apologise if I pronounced that wrong. I probably have a terrible pronunciation. But he'll do a few basic abilities. He'll have his Brew Bolt, which he'll have regardless of what what other buffs he has. He'll always do Brew Bolt, which will cause him to start firing a Brew Bolt if no one's in melee range. So just make sure your tank's always in the melee range of the boss, or a melee at least. Now he'll have different buffs. He'll have either Brew Mastery Wheat, Brew Mastery Ale, or Brew Mastery Stout. If he has Wheat, then he'll have Bloat, which Yan-Zhu infuses a random player with an excessive quantity of brew. This bloat causes brew to gush from their ears for 30 seconds, inflicting 100k damage, and knocking back players in a 10-degree cone on either side of the bloated player. So if, for example, a melee gets that, just make sure they're away from the other members, tanks and stuff, so they're not knocking people around. And the same with the range, make sure that they definitely stay away from the healers. You'll also get Blackout Brew. The heavy Blackout Brew inflicts X amount of frost damage to all players and applies 3 stacks of the Blackout Brew. Stacks can only be removed by moving or jumping, so it's the same mechanic that we've seen before. He's got Brew Mastery Ale, then he'll get the Bubble Shield, where he'll gain the Bubble Shield that you've got DPS through. Each bubble gives him 10% damage reduction, so you definitely need to get through that shield. He'll have Yeasty Brew Ailment, which he'll summon for and add to assist him. I definitely recommend DPSing down the ad as soon as possible, just get it out of the way, otherwise he'll keep summoning these and you'll get overwhelmed very quickly and probably wipe. And finally we have the Brew Mastery Stout. He'll get Carbonate, where he fills the room with carbonation for 20 seconds. You'll see a load of bubbles spawn. As you see now, this is carbonation, so you need to click a bubble and basically just lift off the ground, otherwise you'll take a lot of damage from the ticks on the floor, basically. So very easy to avoid. He'll also have Wall of Suds. He'll periodically summon forth a Wall of Suddy Brew. It'll hit players for frost damage and damage every 0.5 second a player stands within it. So just basically move out of the way of that. And it stuns them for 5 seconds. And finally he'll have Sudsy, which the Sudsy nature of Yan-Zhu grants players the ability to jump extra high. So there you go. So very quick, well, very easy to face boss as long as you know the different mechanics and the different combinations that you may end up getting. And that's him down. So that was a look at the Stormstout Brewery. Quite a fun dungeon to do. I like the mechanics, the different mechanics on the mobs. And it's a quite nice short dungeon. There's not a load of trash that there doesn't need to be. So look out for more Heroic Dungeon guides coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya!